Alright, welcome to a Robot Adventures review of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode number 4. An Obol for Charon. Come back. Wait, what's that, Reuben? What's that? The Obol. Let me tell you about the story. So I think this week I think it aired on the 7th, February 7th, 2019. I don't think there was a Norville episode this week, but you see the spaceship that I had at the beginning there? I made that in about maybe 20 minutes. Just like that. I gotta make the other one too, but so yeah, it was a really good episode. And you can like both shows. Orville, of course, being kind of lowbrow, kind of simple comedy. You know, it's good. It's very Seth MacFarlane. And it'll go fuck a robot. Who doesn't like fucking a robot? You know? I mean, if you have a robot and you can fuck it, fuck it. But yeah, Star Trek. We had some good jokes, one-liners, good comebacks in this episode too. In this Star Trek. So, spoilers. Yeah, it was a good start to finish episode with a few threads leading into the next week's episode, which is okay. So in the last week's episode, they had Spock's mother join the Discovery to try to track down, where Spock took off. So Spock took off on a ship somewhere. He's going somewhere, maybe to chase the red spheres. And so they're like, "Oh, we're gonna track him down." So, that's their mission, to go get Spock, find out what's going on with the red spheres. They get the information from the new number one. She's a lady, and she's in the original series type of uniforms, which is, so now there are two uniforms, and it's like, okay, I don't know when they're going to switch over, if it's just, you can choose either or. So yeah, she does that. She gets she gives them the information. They start to go after Spock, and they get sucked out of subspace in front of this big, huge, like blob of like sun something thing. And they're like, "Oh, what's going on?" And all the universal translators go out, and it's like the Tower of Babel. And last episode, when Tilly was running around doing the training, she's like, "Oh man, this is so hard and stuff." And Saru's like, "Yeah, you can do it. When I went through training, I learned like 100 different languages." And like, "Wow, you're super good." So Saru's he's the only one of his species. He got asylum, and he joined Starfleet, and he was like, "I can do it." So we know that Saru speaks all these languages. So the Universal's all crazy. Universal Translator's all crazy. Burnham calls up Saru, and he's like handles everything, starts talking to everyone, and fixes it up. But he also has to go down to the other parts of the ship and sort everything out. So, but he's sick. He's like, "Oh man, I'm under the weather," and stuff like that. And it's like, "All right, well, we need your help." So, even though he's sick, he's going around helping, doing stuff. And they have to go to like engineering and make sure all these other places are okay. And the new engineer, I think her name Jet Reno, goes down where Stamets is and Tilly's. They're all in engineering, and she's like, "Oh, I gotta, make sure everything's okay down here." And because of the computer problems, they get stuck down there. And down there, they're quarantined. The spore thing that they sucked out of Tilly last episode, and it's in quarantine. But hey, guess what happens? The spore thing gets out. Oh, and this is going to be a really short synopsis summary of what happened, but it's a good episode, and it's very tricky. How dare Star Trek copy Star Trek? So it's kind of like a Tin Man kind of thing, where or a crystalline entity kind of thing, and they meet this entity before it dies. Oh, spoilers! So the entity is trying to communicate with the starship, and is like right before it dies. And what they have to do is they have to drop all shields and open themselves up to receive the information from the entity and hope that it's benevolent and doesn't kill them. And that's what they do. So spoilers, that's the end. But they set up the reasons why it looks like they're going to ditch the spore drive. Maybe because of the lawsuits and stuff like that, but and why it was never mentioned in the original series is because the same way they had put a speed limit on subspace, warp travel, and I don't know which one. Maybe it was their Next Generation, but all that warping was damaging subspace and damaging the lives, the entities, the creatures that live within there, and causing a bunch of trouble. So they said, "Okay, we won't do that anymore. We'll go slowly unless it's a super emergency. Then we'll go fast again." So they set it up with the creature from the mycelial network. She's like, "Oh, Stamets is damaging." The mycelial network and hurting us and stuff. So you got to stop traveling through the mycelial network. And so they set up that. Yeah, I really like that scene. So Reno, the engineer lady, I think she's a comedian in real life, and yeah, she has her comebacks. I don't know if she helped write it or something like that, but it was pretty good. So Stamets was all like high and mighty on his high horse. Was like, "Well, my mushrooms are, super good," and she's like, "Yeah, your fucking mushrooms, dilithium." And it's like, so it was pretty funny. It wasn't fucking a robot kind of funny, but it was good. And so. Yeah, so Burnham and Saru have to go around, figuring out what's wrong with the systems and stuff like that. So they have to set up this antivirus to stop the creature's virus. It's like, oh, okay. They have to figure out how to stop the ship and get control of the ship again. And Saru was under the weather. He's like, "Oh, I'm feeling sick," but it turns out that the creature triggered his end of life sickness or something. So, on Saru is from a group of creatures that will on their planet they're like the food for the other creatures, like sentient food, and when this condition occurs, they become weak, and then the other creatures eat them. Or if they don't get eaten, they will become crazy and die because they're not being eaten. So Saru's like, okay, Burnham, you're my best friend. You got to help me. And Burnham's like, oh, there's no other way. A little bit of overacting there. It wasn't as bad as Cisco's overacting. Burnham's overacting still a lot better than Cisco's overacting. So good job on Burnham. It's not real. It's real. Okay, whatever. So Burnham is gonna, that ganglia thing that comes out of Saru's head. She's got to cut that off, and so that will help kill him or something, or stop him from being crazy. So she's gonna cut it off and say, "Oh, you're my family" and stuff, and then it drops off, and then it turns out that he doesn't need that stuff, and he's no longer scared and stuff, and now he's strong. I'm strong, Saru, and he's like, all of the lies or all of the things that they said about our species, that we have to be food and stuff like that, that was a lie, because we can be strong. So it sets up like he's going to start a revolution. And I don't know how Starfleet's going to, handle that, because I don't think you're supposed to start a revolution to free a bunch of people. I don't think that's Starfleet way. But yeah, so magic. Yeah, so we've got Saru. Every time I say Saru, I think of like Gary Gnu, and then I think of Star of Horizon Zero Dawn, and the Banuk. And when I think of Saru, I want to say Banuk, but he's not a Banuk. So that's how it ends. Well, not really. So at the end, the spore mushroom thing that was in the mycelial network that got into Tilly was trapped, contained, took over Tilly, and completely took her over. And there was this cool part where they were tripping balls. They're all tripping on mushrooms and stuff. And it was like the bulgy eyes, like Leaving Las Vegas and stuff like that. That kind of, or the way the thumbnail looks on pitch meetings, Screen Rant pitch meetings, with the bulgy eyes and stuff like that. Like, you're funny. That was good. I like that they threw in some tripping fucking balls comedy in there. So that thing takes over Tilly, and it sucks her into they try to cut it open and like, hey, let's look for where's Tilly, and she's gone. It's like, oh shit. So they did some CG effects of all that thing enveloping her, but there was actually like a rubbery kind of texture stuff that they used, a practical effect on the. Look at all my paints and stuff. I like stuff and making things. So Justice Democrats, AOC. What's that? What are you talking about, Ruben? Come by. So yeah, that was practical. So Tilly's, I think, gone. She's sucked into the mycelial network. They're gonna have to go after her and rescue her. Also, don't travel through the mycelial network because it's damaging people. So that's gonna be a thing. And because of the lawsuit, maybe they just want to get rid of that whole network system. And another thing that Yeah, so number one's on there now. They got a new number one. And yeah, another thing of the practical effects, they got rid of Saru's ganglia, and so maybe it's easier for them to put him into costume. But they also had to show him like dying, so they took off his shirt, and they had to do special effects on, practical effects on his makeup on that, and it looked just kind of like a funny jacket. He was wearing some kind of big prosthetic thing, and hopefully they don't have him, like that in the future or something. Maybe it's easier for them to do the makeup or something, or maybe he'll just leave because he's going to go off on his quest to free his people. So who knows what they're going to do with that? But yeah, it seems uncomfortable to walk in those shoes. But who knows? The actor, those guys. They're actors, but no one knows their faces, so it's maybe a good and bad thing. They can't be typecast like Isaac. Who the fuck is Isaac? So I think it's Mark Jackson. But you only gotta see him when Cisco's wife, I forgot what her name is in the series, fucked the robot. Fuck the robot. So yeah, other than the like Saru, makeup, which isn't anything to do with story, and it being kind of a reshoot of redoing a kind of a mixture of other episodes. But it's Star Trek. They can do Star Trek again and again. So it's kind of like Tin Man or Crystalline Entity or something like that. So, except for that, it was pretty good. It was a pretty solid episode, and a little bit of overacting from Burnham. That was good. Good all the way through. So yeah, really good show. I'd say good 7, easy 7. Could be 8. Yeah, I liked it. They set up a bunch of stuff, and I like the Janet Reno, the Jet Reno character. She's a smack talker, so that's kind of funny. And oh no, you can't have a woman talking shit to a man. You can only have a man talking shit to a woman. So, if there are people like, oh, they pissed off Stamets. Stamets is a fucking something. All right, what about the fucking the engineer? All the people who, and the people are like, oh, well, people associate, with people that look like them. If you can, see yourself in characters that don't look like you, if you say you can only associate or that's kind of, throwing people under the bus. Like, oh, you're white, you have to associate with a white guy. No, you don't have to do that. Yeah, myself, look at all the stuff I like to make. I'd associate myself with that engineer lady. I'm that engineer lady. Making stuff. Riven, are you an Australia, New Zealand comedian lady? No, I'm not, but if I were someone on the crew, I'd want to be that engineer lady. She talks a lot of shit. She's funny. So I like her. Yeah, whatever she does, she's going around there going, hey, shut your head, fucking. She's kind of breaking the fourth wall by pointing out what the audience is saying. Like, hey, what the fuck are you gonna do? You ain't gonna do shit. So I kind of like that. Well, she doesn't talk to the camera, of course, but she voices what the people are, or the fans are thinking. Like, Hey, come on, man. Don't be all fucking artsy fartsy, trekky. Maybe she's the voice of the realistic fan or something. I don't know. But yeah, she's only been in like 3 episodes or something like that. But yeah, she's has it only been 2 episodes? Maybe three. No, she was in the pilot. So in the first episode. But yeah, good stuff. It's getting good. You only got 4 episodes to watch, so yeah. And as far as Orville goes, Orville's also a good show, but I think the comedy stylings is a little bit different. Not a little bit, a lot different. It's campy, cheesy, stuff like that. And Seth MacFarlane's serious acting is maybe okay. His like I'm in love kind of smoochy face acting, not a fan of that. So, yeah. But yeah, I love the donkey. I love the fuck the donkeys and fuck the robots. Big fan of fucking robots. Big fan of you know that doctor likes fucking. Cisco's wife, fucking. She fucked Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald was on there. She fucked the robot. So yeah, it's good for her. She should get the fuck on. Get her fuck on. So that's good. But yeah, it's a different comedy style. All right, guys. That was it for my thoughts on. Oh, and so I think the title of the episode, an Obol for Charon, is something to do with ancient Greek and maybe the translation something or so. Yeah. All right, guys. That's it. I need. It's no, and then magic it up. You can hear something in the background there. Magic 'em. AOC. Figure that out. Which team am I on? Come by. Bye.